Hey guys, Sean here. Welcome to the F1 word again and to the qualifying watch-along for the 2024 Qatar Grand Prix. How was your mini break, chat? How did you do there? Did you watch the F2? I did. It was okay. It wasn't F2y enough for me, but yeah, it was a decent race. Good stuff. No spoilers, of course, just in case. But yes, qualifying. We've already done the sprint today, and of course, sprint qualifying yesterday. So plenty to get into. But the session just 25 minutes away from now. So ready for this one. McLaren looking good, I guess, is the story. Ferrari might be in the mix. Russell quicker than I thought with Mercedes. So we could be in for a good session here. But qualifying, more often than not, I suppose, tends to be pretty decent. So looking forward to that as always. It's the session we all enjoy most the weekend, I'm sure, at certain tracks. Let's start with the sprint result then, for those who didn't catch it earlier today. So Oscar Piastri sort of won the sprint. He officially did. Lando Norris letting him through on the line for payback for Brazil, of course. Apparently that was a decision that Lando Norris took and not a team order, so that's interesting. The team weren't aware he was going to, or they asked him not to, but he did it anyway. So Piastri with the win, Norris in second place. George Russell finished third, only 4/10 off the lead because of those swapping at the end, but it was close between him and Piastri throughout the race. A few move attempts and some good side-by-side action. Carlos Sainz was fourth, with Charles Leclerc in fifth and Lewis Hamilton in sixth. They had a good scrap as well at one point. Seventh for Nico Hulkenberg, only eighth for Max Verstappen after a poor start and just doesn't seem to have the pace. Christian Horner saying the team has a mountain to climb. Pierre Gasly in ninth with Kevin Magnussen in 10th. Fernando Alonso 11th place for Aston Martin. I should say, actually, sorry, just go back. Nico Hulkenberg, 7th place, big for the championship, of course. 2 points, extend the lead over Alpine. But yes, Alonso 11th, Bottas 12th, Lance Stroll in 13th, Esteban Ocon 14th, 15th for Alex Albon, 16th for Liam Lawson, 17th for Yuki Tsunoda, 18th for Franco Colapinto, 19th for Zhou Guanyu, and 20th and last for Sergio Perez. The team confirming, actually, Christian Horner confirming that the front wing that they put on Perez's car, sort of towards-ish the end, 2/3 into the sprint, they popped the front wing on, cost him 11.1 seconds in the stop. They put that on as a bit of a test. They saw it as, we weren't going to score points, so let's just use it as a test session. That's what they went with. Also, Christian Horner in Ted's notebook, very interesting line. And I'm not sure what to read into it, probably nothing really, but the tone of the line, really. Christian Horner saying, regarding Sergio Perez at the end of the pit lane, not going when the green light went on, he said, when the light goes out, you go. And he didn't look very impressed. So read into that what you will, but Christian Horner not thrilled at all about that, I'd imagine. But pretty miserable day for Red Bull all round, and certainly Sergio Perez. Usual line, not good enough, and all of that. Again, I said it earlier, I'm not going to keep going on and on about it and repeating myself. We know it's not good enough. He'll know it's not good enough. And we'll see what the team decides to do on a week on Monday, I believe. They've got a meeting there. So, hey to Pascal. Hey to RC as well. Good to see you. Pascal says F2 was not bad. Bortoleto still in the championship. Great win for Behrman. I said no spoilers. I'm just going to ruin that there, didn't I? But anyway, RC says hello. Alfie says hey. Hey to Dashcam as well. Says dirty air will ruin the race. And Nick says sprints are glorified test sessions for half the grid. Even FP1 is more competitive. I mean, if you are, Yuki Tsunoda in 17th or Alex Albon in 15th and you can't get points unless you get to 8th place, then you're right, Nick. What else are you supposed to do? You might as well use it as a test session, haven't you, and just try and get as much data as possible for the rest of the weekend. Or I suppose a race test session, I suppose, because they can sort of test tyres, can't they? And how long might this stint last in race conditions, and what if we do this and do that? So I kind of feel like that's what was happening with Zhou Guanyu. I've not seen anything from Sauber on that, but I feel like that's what they were doing there. Let's see how far the soft will go. Could we start on it tomorrow in case we get an early safety car? Yes or no? What then happens when we go onto the medium? Can we warm that up quickly? How's that going to look for undercuts and things? So, it makes sense to use it as a test session if you're not going to score, but also it's a sprint race. So we want to see racing, and that's not really doing it, is it? So, hey CPB, says I thought about your comments on Checo earlier. We'll try English. I think if they keep Perez, it'll be because they're anticipating that Max will leave for another team in 2026. So stability, basically. A few people have put that to me before, and I'll tell you what I tell them. Really, is it stability keeping Sergio Perez? Because I would argue that given where he is and the way he is performing, or I suppose specifically not performing, I would argue that's not stability. And that's why I come back to the nothing to lose comment that I keep making. You know, if he's consistently 16th, yeah, I guess that is by definition stable, isn't it? He is consistently 16th. But I think if Max leaves in even if Max leaves in 2 years, I don't think Perez is the answer to bring stability, and he's certainly not the answer to replace him. So I do think that, though, I will say there is a big question mark over Verstappen's longer term future at Red Bull. We'll see what happens with the car. I think once he gets testing, or not testing, but simulator work on it next year, he might start to feel the car's not there, and then we might hear more of a move away, and we'll see what happens with other drivers who are coming in next season and getting a chance, and those that have moved. We'll see what happens with Verstappen, but I don't think he has said previously, and actually quite recently, I think that he quite likes the idea of spending his entire career at one team, which technically wouldn't be true anyway, because he's already moved from Toro Rosso to Red Bull, but I know exactly what he means, so he might fancy it, but we'll see in the coming weeks and months. But I don't think it's as stable as it was a year ago, let's say. Siggy says the Checo cash doesn't hurt Red Bull, so to say. I'm not sure what I'm missing on that one. If they lose it won't hurt them. Is that what you mean? Possibly, but yeah, they've got money, Red Bull. They'll be fine. I would argue Perez being there is more likely to make Max leave. Sound like he really wanted Ricciardo back, says Moray. And Nick says Lawson, Tsunoda, Perez and Colapinto were all at the back. Red Bull's second seat will be the fastest of the losers. Yeah, that's a good point, actually. Yes, yeah. Where are they? Lawson 16th, Tsunoda 17th, 18th was it for Colapinto? Yeah, and 20th for Perez. So, but I think Colapinto's got all sorts going on this week. I think something about suspension. I should have read that, and I meant to, so I do apologise. But yeah, Colapinto's goal this weekend, and I mean this with no shade whatsoever, is get to the end of the weekend without crashing. He just needs to not cost Williams any more money this weekend, and maybe even next weekend. So he's talking to teams. Still talk about Alpine, rumours flying around there that he might come in to replace Jack Doohan, who's not even debuted yet. So I think that'd be a bit harsh. But, Flavio Briatore, he's brutal when he needs to be. But it did make me wonder something. And I'll make this clear quickly, and then we're going to move on to something else before we get to quali, and I'll answer some of your questions again. I've been thinking in the gap between streams. This talk that came out a few weeks ago about Colapinto to Alpine, which seems ludicrous, and people say, well, it'll be to replace Doohan, and that's what the rumour has sort of become. I got it in my head, weirdly, and it is pure speculation and absolute nonsense. It's not going to happen. But what if the conversations with Colapinto and Alpine are because Red Bull have approached Gasly? They haven't approached Gasly. That's what my head was doing in the gap. It's what happens when you stream twice a day. Your mind wanders into crazy places. But could you imagine? I hope, by the way, with respect to Colapinto, as much as I'd quite like to see him on the grid next year, I think giving your junior driver in Jack Doohan a promotion and then snatching that away is beyond brutal. I think that's really... I know life isn't fair, but I would say that's very unfair. I know the Doohans will dispute it and say, no, that's not the case, but you never know with Flavio. So that would be ultimate heartbreak, I suppose, really. It'd be an awful thing to do, and it would sort of underline that they're not great with their juniors, wouldn't it? Which we kind of already know anyway. So, but yeah, that's it on Perez. I don't want to go banging on about Perez all the time, but he is the big talking point. The constructors is pretty much done. The drivers is done. People keep talking about, could Carlos Sainz get fourth in the drivers' championship, or third in the drivers' championship, or whatever, or could this put? And I'm like, I get it. I get that it's something to cling on to, but I have to be honest. I know drivers get bonuses, but I couldn't give a tiny rat's ass if Carlos Sainz finishes fourth or fifth. I don't care if Lewis Hamilton is seventh or sixth. I don't care if Charles Leclerc's third or second. Who gives a damn? It's the championships that matter, and I know bonuses and things for the drivers might, but I can't get excited about it. They tried it last year, didn't they, to battle for second place? I couldn't get excited about that at all. There was just no way. Doohan would be much better than Colapinto, says Moray. And Lewis says Colapinto has had too many crashes in a short time. True, but then how Marco was talking about Yuki Tsunoda's 2 crashes in Mexico. I feel like Red Bull are just trying to find any excuse not to put Yuki Tsunoda in that car. So every time it comes, yeah, but he crashed twice in Mexico, and but he did this and he did that. It's like, yeah, but this driver did this, and like you say, Colapinto, 2 weekends in a row, big crashes, or 2 big crashes in a row. Why is that okay? But I don't know. There's something about Tsunoda that they don't want in that car. But there you go. What if Perez's finishing position is the average pace of the car and Max is just that good? Scary thoughts. Yeah, but that's kind of like saying, what if we put Max Verstappen in, I don't know, let's have a look for a car. So around 16th would be the 8th. So putting Max Verstappen in an Alpine, he'd be able to finish 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th every other week. I don't buy that. The car isn't easy to drive. I know Perez has got his problems, but Max Verstappen is the difference. Absolutely, he is head and shoulders clear of Sergio Perez, but it's not. I feel like there's always an excuse. There was an excuse in qualifying yesterday. I said it yesterday. Leclerc cost me time. Well, you shouldn't be down there in the first place, really, Checo. But always an excuse, and it's getting to be a little bit. I've been talking to Stuart in the gap as well, and he's kind of like, you can't keep excusing it. So, but yeah, I did say 4 minutes ago I won't talk about this anymore, but here we are. We're still going. But that's what I mean. Just I get the point. That Verstappen is the difference. He is a massive part of that, but 16th place. In fact, I'll tell you what I was going to do. Where is it? I screenshot this yesterday. And then we'll move on. Sergio Perez's last 5 grid positions: Mexico 18th, Brazil Sprint 13th, Brazil 12th, Las Vegas 15th, Qatar Sprint 16th. That's not all Verstappen making the difference. That's Perez struggling, and it's Perez just not been up to speed. But yeah, there are 19 other drivers on the grid. I keep talking about it, but it is, like I said, it's the big talking point, really, isn't it? But I wanted to ask you, coming back today, I was going to ask you earlier, but I thought I'd save it for the start of this stream. In chat, how do you feel, because Ted Kravitz raised a question in his notebook, how do you feel about that swap between the 2 McLarens? Do you think it would have been better to do it the way that, were they right to do it on the line, or could Lando have let him go earlier in the lap? How do you feel about a car stopping on the line to let another car through? And how do you feel? I mean, there's nothing on this really. Yes, the Constructors' Championship is what they're going for, but there's no difference between Norris finishing first and Piastri finishing first for McLaren. It was still a 1-2, so it makes no odds there. So it doesn't really, I'm not really fussed about it, but I do get why a lot of people would be annoyed at stopping on the line. I know Ted was talking about people who might have bet on Norris for the win and they're about to get their money, and then he stops on the line and lets Piastri through. But I guess, as Ted said, that's the gamble you take when you are gambling. So I mean, Biker John says, pity win, charity not racing. It's exactly the same for Norris, isn't it? I mean, in Brazil, when Piastri moved out of the way, and I think Hungary's a little bit different. People won't like that, but I think Hungary's a little bit different because Piastri was driving brilliantly in that race, and it was the team who went the way they did with strategy, which then put Piastri behind Norris. So I think rectifying that is a bit different to this, but this isn't a team order. It's Norris letting him go completely his own choice to do it. Free says, I am okay with it as a viewer, but I wouldn't want to be Piastri in that case. I do wonder if people have the same energy as with Schumacher and Barrichello. Absolutely not. Absolutely not, Freeze. They won't have the same energy. I think this is the thing Ted said. He said the thing with Barrichello and Schumacher is that Ferrari didn't have to make the swap in Austria 2002 because Schumacher was cruising away with the title. Agree, but Norris didn't have to make the swap today. That it doesn't make any difference who's first and second. So, but there won't be the same energy. Of course, there won't be. There's a Brit involved, and he's the hero now because he let Piastri through. What a great sportsman he is basically the line that we're seeing everywhere. So I guess it is sporting, isn't it? Same as when Hamilton let Bottas back through in Hungary. What feels like yesterday, but was forever ago now. It is sporting of him, but it's not even like it. Let's see tomorrow. All these times last year and this year, Oscar Piastri has to hop out of Norris's way. Let's see tomorrow, or we compromise on strategy to help him. Let's see tomorrow if Lando Norris is leading and Piastri's right up his backside if he slows down and gives that win up, because I guarantee you he won't. It's as simple as that. It's only a sprint. I think it underlines as well that a lot of the drivers just couldn't care less about the sprint, to be honest. Richie says it seems like Checo's confidence is completely gone. I said to Stuart, I wonder if he's checked out or checoed out, just because that's not the kind of mistake even a rookie would make at the end of the pit lane. It was such a strange one. It could be because he doesn't care about the sprint either and he wasn't going to get anything from it. It could be that he's starting to check out because he knows which way this is going, but it's just such an odd mistake to make. So maybe a confidence thing, you're right, it could be. It could be that he's sort of done now with it and just wants to get through his final 2 races. It could have just been a genuine mistake. It was very embarrassing, the stopping on the line thing, but I can't really say too much because I was celebrating that when Schumacher was let through by Barrichello as everyone booed, so I won't say too much. Ferrari did it then, Lando did it today, says Dell. Did we find out why Perez got a new wing, says Lewis? Yes, it was, they were using the rest of the race, the sprint, for the testing of the front wing to try and see if they can get on top of whatever's going on, so that's what that one was. McLaren will definitely apply team orders and instruct them not to race if they're in a 1-2 position. Yeah, it depends whether... I guess my response is yes, but it depends where the Ferraris are. If the Ferraris have both retired for whatever reason, they can let them race, can't they? Because the title's pretty much there, so... Or it would be there, would it? It would be there, yeah, I think, more or less. Yeah. No, it wouldn't. 56, I can't work that out. I can't work it out on the fly. No, it's all right. But yeah, no, it depends on what the situation is with Ferrari, I suppose. So Anushka says, good night, everyone. And Checo is washed. Hey, Anushka, hope you're okay. Had a good day. The swap doesn't annoy me much as F1 is just as much a team sport as it is an individual one. However, I'd have been raging if I had money on it. Yeah, that's the point. But I guess that's a gamble, isn't it, I suppose? But yeah, it is different if there's something on the line, isn't it? Do you know what I mean? If letting Piastri through, but no, because it is a team sport. You're right. No, forget that. You are right. Yeah, it's a team sport. People forget that. It's not just the drivers. I know the drivers are the front and center of everything, but you know that's why I keep talking about the constructors. It does matter. So it's where the big money is, and McLaren look like they're going to do it. So, but good news for Ferrari. They'll get some extra CFD time, I guess. Red Bull as well, Mercedes. So, yeah, but the big battles this weekend we need to keep an eye on. Obviously, McLaren getting that title wrapped up versus Ferrari will be in. I don't think Red Bull are going to catch Ferrari. They need 2 drivers and they haven't got them. So, that's not going to happen. Sorry, 2 drivers fighting at the front. That was a bit, Checo is definitely still there, just to let you know. But yeah, the battle's really, then it's down to Haas, Alpine and RB, which I know some of you will care about even less. But that probably for me is quite exciting because that's huge money for teams that could really do with the money. So yeah, I'm enjoying that one. Haas looking good for that though. A couple more points pulling clear today. Most sports have a rule where you must do your best. I wonder if F1 will introduce it too, though that would effectively ban team orders too. The trouble is, Del, you'll know, Del. The trouble is they've tried to do things like that. Teams will find a way around them. You know what's coming. We had it. Team orders used to be banned, and then you just get Fernando is faster than you, and then they will find a way to do it. They will find a way to get around it. So it's pointless trying to ban team orders in a team sport. It's kind of an odd thing to do, actually, in some ways when you think about it. Team sport, ban team orders, but yeah. What's for dinner, Sean? I'm going to be honest, RC, probably a takeaway. I don't know which, because it could be a latish one tonight, and then I've got some things to finish off ready for tomorrow. So probably it is Saturday, to be fair. Saturday night takeaways, why not? Tomorrow will be really something cheap and nasty, but that's tomorrow's problem, yeah? We'll sort out, yeah, so probably just a takeaway tonight. I don't know what yet. The Cody messages were fun, says that, yeah, they were quite fun, yeah. RC says I was in North London yesterday. Awesome. What did you do in North London? Not going to watch Arsenal with you, RC. Oh dear, no, don't do that. Don't put yourself through that. It's pretty easy watching Man United, to be fair, at the minute. But I was actually wondering, why is Hamilton so slow nowadays whilst George is flying, says Anushka? We sort of mentioned this on Sunday, or Stuart made the point that I think there is an element of not Lewis checking out, that's not what I mean, but he's already said today, and I know it's partly self-motivating and partly tongue-in-cheek, but he did say he just wants to get these last 2 races out of the way. He's not happy, not quick this weekend, but there is an element, I think, of the team leaning towards Russell with the car, which, as Stuart said on Sunday, makes complete and total sense. It will be frustrating for Lewis Hamilton and Lewis Hamilton fans, I'm sure, but why would you build the car or push the car towards a driver that's leaving? You wouldn't do that. If Ferrari aren't going to build the car towards Carlos Sainz, it's pointless. Haas won't build the car to suit Hulkenberg. It's pointless. So they are going to lean towards getting things, working with George and getting that car how he needs it for next year, because these cars will largely carry over. So I think there'll be an element of that. I don't know though, honestly. I kind of get a bit bored of people going, it's an age thing, because maybe, I mean, there is an argument for it. As you get older, you do lose that performance as a sports person, absolutely, but Fernando Alonso's still incredible when he's got the car underneath him, so I'm not sure about that. So maybe just the car isn't suiting him. We'll see. Let's head on to the Watchalong screen before we start speculating on which care home people want to put Lewis Hamilton in. Not the one I used to work in, that's for sure. Probably better for him now that I'm not there, but yeah, anyway, let's not get into that. Let's get on to what was it? So set this Watchalong. Get your track map sorted. Your track map. Like, this is all your fault that I've got this track map. I love watching the track map. It was handy during the sprint, which I'm still not convinced was as thrilling as some may believe it was. I thought it was a little bit dull. But when was the last great sprint we've had? I mean, it was a decent one in Brazil, wasn't there? But I mean, short races, they don't tend to be quite as exciting. But sorry, I'm multitasking again. At a mate's for game last night, had a lot to drink, shots of whiskey and shots of tequila are not a good idea, says RC. Just one of those is enough for me. I had a beer and I'm on my backside. You know what I mean? I haven't had one tonight. I wouldn't dare have any drink and then stream, because you don't need me, who's already got verbal diarrhea, with even worse verbal diarrhea. It ain't going to end well for anybody. So let's head on to the watch on screen then. There we go. See, it's because I'm going to be honest, I've basically marked it on my desktop so that it looks good, and then I get all the applause because I'm so good. A drunk Sean stream is a terrifying thought, RC. Live timing, of course, provided by Multiviewer for F1. They don't sponsor the stream, but they will get a shout out for allowing me to use the app on the stream. You can download the app, links in the description. It is free to download and it is free to use, but you do need an F1 TV Access or F1 TV Pro subscription to get all of the good stuff around the data, etc. So definitely go and check those guys out. Fantastic the way that they've set all this up, and lots of data is always a good thing for me, so that's awesome. And of course, if you are new, please do drop a like and subscribe as well. I'll do shout outs for subscriptions for subscribers in between the sessions, so if you do want to shout out, make sure you subscribe during Q1, Q2 and Q3. I'll do some shout outs. That's not squeak anymore. See, I don't mute the mic when I've been saying all weekend and it's squeaking, and it doesn't squeak when I move it. That is not funny. That is not fair. I'm not lying. I'm just going to pop my headphone in. Just let me know, by the way, if you can hear Crofty and Jensen Button at any point. If you can, I'll have to turn it down, but I've got it turned up a little bit so I can try and hear what they're saying, because I feel like I'm missing things, which, we'll find out together. But we are about to go green in Qatar for qualifying. This is proper quali, so we are setting the grid for the Grand Prix, the one that everyone cares about. Basically, I'm just going to pause for a second on the gob. Sean forcing the old people to listen to tyre talk. Says, oh God, don't. Tyre talk. Oh dear. Yeah. I'm not looking forward to any potential backlash if that doesn't return next year. Got to give people their tyre talk, otherwise I'll go mad. We are about to go green. I will keep an eye on this and try and make sure I get my buttons right here as well. My Jensen buttons. We're 48 seconds away from the start of the session. We'll do predictions as well a little bit later, see who you're going to go for poll. Like I said, Piastri on Thursday, so I'll stick with Piastri and we'll see what we get. But from this weekend, the last 2 weekends, I'd love Oscar Piastri to get his first proper pole. And I would quite like to see... Do you know what? It's not going to happen. I wouldn't mind a Sainz win this weekend and a Hamilton win in Abu Dhabi, just to sign off with their teams. That'd be really, really cool. So, Here we go then. We are ready to go for Q1. 5 seconds. I'm not counting down. Keep your comments coming. We'll keep it interactive as always, but we are green for Q1 for the Qatar Grand Prix, and I'm so looking forward to this one. Hopefully, we're going to get a cracking weekend of action now. Yeah. Biker John, lots of car emoji, says, let's go. We are going. We are go. Good stuff. George Russell straight out on track. Kevin Magnussen and Zhou Guanyu. In fact, a few queuing in the pit lane, actually. So sorry for any bumping. I'm just readjusting my mic so it's not quite in my face, so I don't headbutt it quite as much. Be the funniest thing if we could hear Crofty and Jensen listening to you in the background to do their commentary. Yeah. Looking at Charles Leclerc there. For some, it's just he's waiting in the queue. It's nothing to worry about. I thought they were focusing on him for a reason. QA putting money into Audi, says RC. Yes, I mentioned it yesterday. I think it was. It just doesn't excite me because obviously in the era of the cost cap, whilst that money's like nice to have and it can be spent on areas where the cost cap doesn't apply, it doesn't excite me like it would have done 5 years ago when that kind of cash injection could really give a team a boost with their car. But it's investment, isn't it? So. Mattia Binotto, yes, indeed, Max. I was just going to say, spotted him there in his Sauber gear, on board with George Russell with a white helmet this weekend. Anybody got any idea why? I didn't see the press release. Why they're in the white this weekend? Is it an initiative or something, or a sponsor thing, or is it just to do with the heat, which isn't really that hot? It's 19 degrees air temperature. I mean, not that hot. That's way too hot for me. People don't believe me. That's 9 degrees too hot for me at least. I like it cold. I love this time of year. I am miserable. Track is 22 degrees though, 60% humidity, so a bit more than earlier. So all I do know about the QAA investment on Audi is that it's not related to any financial woe that VW may be facing, just to let you know on that one as well. So Magnussen was what I was going for there, is about to give us a lap, and somebody's been kicking up dust already. We've already got squabbling for track position. Charles Leclerc complaining in the pits that nobody's even moving, so frustration there for Charles, but we're going to get some lap times on the board nice and early here. Lots of action as always, but yeah, it was 80% humidity last year, wasn't it, for the race? So 60% for qualifying. That's like a fridge to them today. It's perfect. No. QA already own a lot of VW, so they aren't really selling anything. True. I'm not sure about the ownership structure there, but yeah, that's a fair point if that's the case. So, could Ferrari be taking extra allocation points for tanking extra allocation points for next year, or tanking for? Maybe. I think they want to win it though. Surely. You've got to want the title. Otherwise, if you're not going to have titles, why turn up? Williams might not be likely to win a world championship, but if they didn't believe they could at some point, they wouldn't be doing it, would they? So it was K-Mag who kicked up the dust. I thought it might have been a little bit of a twitch on the exit of turn 1 and into the gravel strip. He is going to get across the line and set a time, and he will go fastest, of course. First one to do it, 23.5. That is going to come down quite a bit, and it's going to be deleted for track limits anyway at turn 1. So Zhou goes up into second. We'll move to first on the 23.5 once Magnussen's time deleted. And Bottas does a 22.7. Not a bad opening banker lap that from Valtteri. So good for him. Really hoping he's going to pick up some points this weekend, or a point, just any point. The suits are a promo with IWC apparently. Russell says he just wanted a helmet to match. Fair enough. I just didn't know. Yeah, I knew it was something sponsory. They tend to be, don't they? But didn't know if there was something deeper behind it, but no, there we go. Fastest goes Lance Stroll, 22.384. Impressed with that opening banker from Bottas. I know it's not going to be the pole time, and he's going to be nowhere near enough to get through, or it might not be enough to get through. I'd be surprised if it is, but it's a nice little first lap when you look at some of the other laps that are coming in. So good stuff from Valtteri there. RC says Perez is slow, 33.5. He's 10 seconds off Zhou's time. I assume just going to get some tyre warm up first, maybe hit some traffic as well. He's behind Zhou at the moment. Perez 30.4. That's quicker than Stroll at the moment. But it's a 10th down on Sainz, who's on the purple first sector at the moment. Stroll and Alonso are the top two. Stop the count. That'll do. We'll have that one. Stroll and Alonso on the front row tomorrow with Piastri and Norris well down the order. That could be fun. The Ferraris coming through too. They won't stay there. Don't worry. Colapinto is in fourth, completing his lap time. Just watching Sainz, who pits on the scrub set of tyres. So it is one of those weekends where we do need to keep an eye on who's on used and who's on new, because we've got through a lot of tyres this weekend already. So everybody apart from, in fact, it looks pretty close to a good split here, but Leclerc is going to complete this lap. This is a used set of tyres. He goes second. So everybody apart from Bottas, Albon, Colapinto, Zhou, Perez, who only goes fourth, Lawson, Tsunoda are on used tyres. All of those I've just mentioned are on new tyres. So Perez on a fresh set has just gone into fourth place, slower than Alonso, Leclerc and Stroll on a used set. So that is not great. Verstappen goes fastest to 22.0 on a... Norris goes fastest to 22.0 on a used set of softs. Verstappen is purple and purple, though. He's across the line. He goes fastest on a 21.7 on a used set of softs. So that's a good lap. And Colapinto's lap time was deleted for track limits at turn 6. Albon lost his as well at turn 6 on his third lap. So he will lose that time too. So... a bit of chaos out there early. I'm not sure what's going on here. So, yeah, we've got Verstappen fastest at the moment on a used set of tyres. Norris, in fact, all of them on a used until he gets Perez in 6th. So, good lap there from Verstappen. What is Piastri going to do? Not quite as quick as Verstappen, but does go third on a 22.122, 4/10 off the Dutchman out front. So a good opening banker there for Verstappen, and that time of Bottas is starting to look a bit worse. But I don't think that's a bad lap from Valtteri, all things considered. It is on new soft, so that's maybe why. But yes, we've lost lap times for Colapinto and Albon, and I think Magnussen lost his as well. So, as I recall, Russell purple, by the way, a 10th up on Verstappen on it's used set again. Just watching on board with Hamilton here as he comes through the tricky turn 14, kicks up a little bit of dust, a lot of dust on the outside there anyway. Bottas just flying past Perez at the moment on track. Zhou moves into 10th place. Lots of traffic in these final couple of corners, but Hamilton will be next to the line. His best time was a 37.7, obviously not a hot lap. He's got a tow here off the Ferrari, which will help, and a bit of DRS to put him into 4th place on a 22.220, but Russell is about, I believe, to go fastest of anybody. George Russell has got pace this weekend. We saw it yesterday. We saw it in the sprint earlier today. He's got a shot at pole. Absolutely got a shot. Word of the day, banker. It's better than was it blast? Russell just go fastest on a 121.5. Yeah, the long blast I think was my phrase the other week, wasn't it, Del? So banker, as long as we stick with the B and nothing else, banker is definitely word of the day. I'm sure some of you would like to use the other one, but there you go, we're here. George Hustle says Moray. Yes, absolutely. Good lap that. 121.519, a couple of tenths quicker than Verstappen. As well. Perez is improving, 30.1 in the first sector, which is down by a tenth on Russell's time. We'll keep an eye on Perez. We're watching Sainz as well. He is out there on used tyres again, so he obviously pitted, wasn't happy with whatever he was running at that point. His lap wasn't great. He's half a second down in the middle sector on Russell, so Sainz struggling here to get a lap in on these used tyres. Norris has gone purple in the first sector. Perez's middle sector 28.0 is 4/10 slower than George Russell. So that middle sector for George, looking at how Perez has done there, and somebody else who was talking about, I think Sainz, was obviously a good middle sector here. Over the line goes Sainz, only up to 4th place. Norris's middle sector, just for comparison, a 10th down on Russell, so a good middle sector there. Perez improves to P7 on a 22.257. Bruss says Perez is doing unusually well. There you go. Norris improves to 2nd place on a 121.5, and we'll see what Lawson and Co can do. Lawson, I think, is next. Alonso's just gone purple on a fresh set of soft tyres in the first sector. I know it's a fresh set of soft tyres. Let me get excited for a moment, please. Alonso for pole. You heard it here first. He's 9 100ths down the middle sector, though, so not going to happen. Lawson goes to the line and gets 11th place on a 22.411. That's on a fresh set of tyres. In fact, now I think most people will be heading out on fresh softs. It's just one of the quirks of a sprint weekend. Got to manage your tyres for the weekend. Is it one set less, I believe? Alonso goes third on the 21.6 on those fresh soft tyres. So these times will keep coming down, of course. Guess that practice session, the P20 sprint, did some good for Checo, says Joe Kool-Aid. That took me a second. Again, kicking up dust. It looks like gravel, but it's not. Just a bit of dust on the edge there. And these Alpines, I kind of wish they'd just go with the pink livery for next year. They really pop and really stand out, particularly under the lights. So stick with it. Go full Force India with it. Why not? Or Racing Point, or whatever they were known as in the end. Over the line goes Gasly. 5th place, a 1:21.9. Gasly, again, I said it earlier, been qualifying really well this year, or in the last few races. So if he can keep that up and get some points, he might be able to turn things around in that constructors fight. Of course, that double podium in Brazil still surprised me when I see the photos. One of the happiest podiums I've ever seen. Esteban Ocon over the line. He is in 20th place. 1:23.167. Magnussen lap time deleted again for turn 4 track limits. But he's got a lap in because he's 22.5 in 17th. We'll just call him Jordan. Yeah, rather than that. Is Red Bull officially out of the constructors now, says Moray? I don't think so. I think they would need a miracle, but I think they are just in it, aren't they? They won't be by the end of this weekend, obviously, unless Checo steps up. But really big snap at turn 4. I believe that was for 14, was it, for Magnussen? I struggle with Qatar's corners. I feel like they all look very similar, and when you look at the track map, they sort of do in places, so I get a bit muddled up. So when we get to replays, I have to just be careful on that one. So yeah, apologies. Nick says they were out of the constructors as soon as Newey left. Cheeky. Probably. Just listening to Ted talk about how close it is out there compared to sprint quali, or trying to listen to Ted over my own voice, which is some sort of miracle. I did try subtitles earlier for the F2, but some of the let's say translations were interesting, so I didn't bother with that, and they took up half the screen anyway. So here goes Nico Hulkenberg. He is on a fresh set of the soft tyres. In fact, I think they're all going to be out there on fresh softs now. Norris still reading as used, but I'd be surprised. I mean, 21.5, do we think he's safe? Could he get away with saving a set? Not that he's going to need them for tomorrow, but it might help him later in this session. Yeah. We joked at the time, but the downfall really did happen as soon as he left, says Moray. Possibly coincidence. Yeah, they've got a lot of talented people at Red Bull who know what they're doing. Pierre Vacher, for example. They've got some great people there, so I'm sure they'll be fine, but it was certainly a coincidence. Let's put it that way. A very convenient coincidence. The best kind of coincidence. Russell says, I'll give Lewis a toe into turn 1. Is what Russell's saying there. They are together, and he has done indeed. Yeah, Hamilton did get a toe into turn 1. So Mercedes feeling the need to start playing those games in Q1. So this is close. It doesn't look it on the timing tower, perhaps, but we've got a second separating the top 17. So it is closer than I think I was expecting. I thought McLaren, I thought McLaren were going to blitz this weekend. Yes, they got the 1-2, but Russell gave them a run for their money. It's a purple in the middle sector for Leclerc, but he's not up overall at the moment. He's about 10th to 10th and a half down. Magnussen does improve into P12. Hulkenberg only 16th, by the way, which is interesting. So I don't know if Haas might want to try a toe at some point, but I'd be surprised if Hulkenberg's down there. Leclerc goes 4th, 1:21.630. Of course, in case you are new to the sprint weekend format and whatnot, the Parc Fermé conditions, they lifted after the sprint. So we will have had a lot of setup changes and car changes between sessions. So that might affect the order a little bit as Sainz goes 2nd at the moment. Ammon says, evening all, thank you very much for providing the live stream as I'm out of the UK currently, so unable to watch, and this is a great follow stream with timing. Thank you very much, Ammon, appreciate that one. Thank you for popping along, and hope you're having wherever you are, having a good time, and all is okay. But yes, I'll try my best. Hey April, I'm very good, thank you. How are you? Good to see you. I think you were here the other week, so it's not been up that long, but I think it's still nice to see you. I hope all is good with you. Yeah, I'm okay. I'm getting ready for my dinner though, but yeah. The dog's sulking at me as well, by the way. I had to kick him out of the room for the stream, and he was asleep on my feet, so he's moody now. Not literally kick, I should stress, just to be clear, of course. But Zhou, 3 tenths up on Tsunoda, a time he needs to get through into the next session, so a good first sector there for Zhou. Bottas a 10th down on Russell overall, so Bottas is doing a good lap here. So Sauber having some speed, Pascal will be excited, so that's good news for Sauber. We'll keep an eye on these two. Zhou's about to catch Oh, Norris going slow, obviously letting cars through. He's about to catch Colapinto, Piastri, Albon. There's a ton of cars ahead of him, so hopefully they'll all hop out the way quite nicely. They seem to be for Zhou. 3.5 tenths up now on Yuki Tsunoda. So good stuff this from Zhou Guanyu. We'll see where he ends up with this. It's going to be tough to get through because people are going to be... the track's going to ramp up. Verstappen goes fourth, 121.5. To answer my question from earlier, Norris has gone out on some fresh softs, so didn't feel safe. Zhou Guanyu up to 11th place on a 22.172. Moves ahead of Bottas. Not for long, though. No, he has. He has stayed there. So Bottas only 14th. Didn't improve, so maybe some traffic towards the end or tyres slipping away, perhaps. But Russell goes fastest on a 21.335. So George Russell, again, has the pace this weekend. Could he challenge for back-to-back wins? That'd be a story. Colapinto, Lawson is now on the bubble. We've got Tsunoda, Hulkenberg, Albon, Colapinto and Ocon in the bottom 5 with just under 2.5 minutes to go. Zhou going for the second Red Bull seat too, says Nick. Yeah, maybe. Maybe. That'd be a turn up for the books. I think he's got Ferrari reserve, I think, by the sounds of it, for him. So, not a bad place to be. Not a race seat, of course, but Ferrari reserve. I wouldn't mind that. Of course I wouldn't mind that. Be amazing. I can't drive an F1 car. I've said it before, I won't fit in one. Lawson 15th on the bubble, 22.4 at the moment. I've not seen a projected cut-off time at the moment, so but it is cramped in there, particularly Stroll down, maybe Gasly down. But yeah, we'll see if anyone can spring a surprise and what they can do. What did Colapinto do in the end? 22.2. So the pace on there for Williams right now. Perez up in 12th place at the moment, 22.2. Norris goes second on a 21.4. It's all numbers. It's all numbers. We'll keep up, though. We'll see how we go. 21.9 is projected knockout. So, yeah, anybody from Gasly down is going to be in trouble. Norris's lap time has been deleted for track limits at turn 6, so he will lose that one. Who are we on board with? Colapinto. I didn't recognise the crash helmet. Of course, the Argentine flag. Yeah, that's a... nice crash helmet. I haven't seen them this weekend. I did see the photo of the Bell promo, which was quite cool. All those helmets, about 14 of them, I think. So there were some great shots. Randomly, if you didn't see them, there you go. Right, we've got Colapinto, Albon, and Ocon all pushing hard now. So they need laps. They are the bottom. They're actually the bottom 3, let alone bottom 5. Hulkenberg 17th here is a surprise. I'm quite surprised he's down there, so I hope he can find some speed because he was quick earlier in the week. He has got a cold, so he's suffering a bit this weekend, but didn't seem to hamper him too much in quali yesterday. And, of course, the sprint where he picked up a 7th place finish and 2 points. So, Moray, behave. Oh, dear. I'm not even going to read it. I'm just going to... If you want to read it. But, yeah. Colapinto, a 10.5 down on Lawson, but he is improving. Green. Albon is just over a 10th, nearly 2 tenths up actually on Lawson in the middle sector. So Albon might improve here. Colapinto doesn't seem to have the speed this weekend. Again, priority for him is just to get through it, I think, given the last couple of weekends. I know his car might not be where he wants it. Was he over the white line there? Colapinto, we'll find out in a bit, I'm sure, but he crossed the line, stays 19th on a 22.5. Alex Albon does improve to 15th, but still under threat here on a 22.3. The pace not in that Williams. Perez is improving. Over the line goes Ocon. He stays 20th. Where's Ocon's pace this weekend? Leclerc goes fastest on a 21.2. The checkered flag is out. Session 1 is done. We'll get these laps in. Sergio Perez is, I think he's through. He should be through there in 13th place. He is going to improve. Over the line he goes. Gives it everything. Goes as high as 8th. Steady, Checo. 121.675. Sergio Perez should be okay there. Bottas gets through in 11th place on a 21.9. Zhou is 14th. And we could have both Saubers in Q2 here. Unless somebody can really ruin it for them. Lawson is pushing hard. Personal best in the middle sector. Tsunoda isn't improving at the moment unless he's got a mighty final sector in him. Here comes Lawson over the line. He doesn't improve, stays 16th. Tsunoda over the line. He does improve to 15th. That's a good final sector from Yuki Tsunoda there. And Russell goes fastest right at the end on a 21.241. Albon, Lawson, Hulkenberg, Colapinto and Ocon, I believe it out. And yeah, Hulkenberg isn't improving. 40.1. 32.5. Lap time deleted for Fernando Alonso for track limits at turn 10. Wow. That's a swing. Sorry, I'm just trying to work out there. Hulkenberg on team radio said it's not going to work out. So the pace not there. But I think that's what Jensen Button was just saying in commentary there, that, you know, that Q3 yesterday for Hulkenberg, and nothing to the rest Q3 yesterday, and out in Q1 today. So we have lost in the first session Alex Albon, Liam Lawson, Nico Hulkenberg, Franco Colapinto, and Esteban Ocon. If you're wondering, get ready to celebrate. Sergio Perez, 8th place and through to Q2. I'm sorry to sound so sarcastic about it, but I tried to be excited for him. It's an improvement on where he was earlier in the weekend. So maybe whatever Red Bull have done with Parc Ferme opening up again and them able to make some changes, hopefully whatever they've done has really helped to improve that car, I guess. But the order was George Russell, Charles Leclerc, Carlos Sainz, Lando Norris and Max Verstappen. Just over 3/10 separating the top 5. Fernando Alonso in 6th place. 3.5 tenths off the fastest time is a cracking lap from Fernando. So hopefully Aston Martin have got something right. Yeah, a bit cooler, I guess. Maybe that could be playing a part as well. Hamilton in 7th with Perez up in 8th and 9th for Piastri and 10th for Gasly. His teammate 20th, which is a surprise. I'll read your comments on Ocon in just a moment. Magnussen 11th, Bottas 12th, Stroll 13th, Zhou 14th, Tsunoda 15th. And of course, we lost Alex Albon, Liam Lawson, Nico Hulkenberg, Franco Colapinto and Esteban Ocon. Hulkenberg, for me, surprise of the session there, getting knocked out. So there we go. But we'll see. Thank you, by the way, everyone that's tuning in. 650 of you here. Thank you so much for spending your Saturday evening or morning or afternoon with me. It's a pleasure as always. Please do subscribe if you are new, and I will do shout outs in between the sessions. So thank you to Chris Rogers and Gunshi for subscribing. Really appreciate the company. Lots to come still this weekend. We've got the race reaction tomorrow after the race, but before we do that, we've got the race watch along to do as well. So lots to come across this weekend. We're nowhere near done as of yet, so looking forward to the race tomorrow. Whatever happens, always love a Grand Prix, so hope to be able to spend that with you. So likes and subscribes. I'll do shout outs for subs as well, so thank you very much to everybody who has subbed already this weekend. Good stuff. Free says he should do the 3-year contract extension. Fair enough. Addy Boy says, I've heard Gasly's getting all the upgrades and that Ocon is being hung out to dry. Could be some truth in that. But again, as I said about the Hamilton-Russell stuff we were talking about earlier, when you've got a driver leaving, it makes sense, doesn't it, to kind of build things around the driver that's staying. So not a huge surprise. Michael says, is it just me or is the lighting causing a glowing visual effect? And no, I'm not high. I'll have a look in the next session when we get to Q2. I wasn't paying much attention to that, but maybe. I did just notice, I think I hadn't spotted it before in Qatar. I think the light boxes seem to be above like some of the gantries as well, which is quite, or hanging from the gantries, which is quite cool. I don't know if that's something I've made up or what, but it looked like it, so I'll keep an eye on that one. Pascal's happy. Both Saubers through to Q2. Cracking lap. Bottas 12th and only 7 tenths off the fastest time. And Zhou 14th, only 8.5 tenths off the fastest time. So great stuff. Michael, it's on my television. Forget about it. Fair enough. I'll still have a look anyway, just out of intrigue. Checo less than a tenth slower than Max lap of his life. Yeah, maybe. Ocon is still running the old heavy Alpine nose from earlier in the season. Yeah, that's a good point as well. They've got the new nose on Gasly, haven't they? But is it that much of a difference? It's heavy. The weight of it's going to be an issue, isn't it? But yeah, before we get into Q2, I'm just going to have a quick drink. So 2 secs, chat. Much like Crofty said 2 secs and then took 10, but you know, that's me for you. Yeah, watching Lawson, seeing he's got a thing through here. An issue. A little bit of dirty air from the car ahead, which would have cost him a bit of time, I'm sure. But where was he in the end? Yeah. You know, 17th place. He'll be disappointed with that. Frustrated, in fact. Alonso purposefully slowed up through turn 9 and 10 when he aborted his lap. It just sucks, man, is what Lawson says. So there we go. Trail Hiker says, hit that like button. Absolutely, do drop a like. We're 40 away from 100. Let's try and get all these streams this weekend over 100 with lots of subs as well. I have a target for the end of the season in terms of views and subs and that. So if we could hit that, then that'd be epic. I want to tell you what it is because then it gives it away. Yeah. Yeah, you see. Secrets. Eighth is actually a solid finish for Perez, and that's sad, says Lewis. Yeah, but, smash that like button, says Nick the Greek. Yes. That's what the kids say, apparently. We are about to get going for Q2. 15 minutes for this session. We've got cars at the end of the pit lane. Is that George first again down there? And we're going to get going. And we'll see who we lose. We've already lost Albon, Lawson, Hulkenberg, Colapinto, and Ocon, of course. We are green for this session, which is good stuff. Ready to go. Quali flies by for me every single time. It's longer than sprint qualifying. It's probably longer than a sprint, frankly. But it just seems to fly by more than the sprint sessions do. I don't know why. It just does. But we are on the proper stuff, if you want to call it that now, with qualifying for the Grand Prix and, of course, the Grand Prix tomorrow. Lon McKee's talking to Sky. I say McKees, but I think it's Meckies, isn't it? You know who I mean. Message to Perez, green means go, says Flaming Tornado. Poor Checo, catching all the grief today. Not a surprise, but he's through. He's through to Q2. Let's see if we can get through to Q3. 8th place, of course, would be enough. So he could do it, but Verstappen here, just slow at the end of the pit lane, creating a gap, of course. Russell, Sainz, Piastri, Leclerc, Hamilton, Magnussen, Zhou, Bottas, and Verstappen on track in that order. So that's where they'll be setting their times from. Hopefully, we're going to get a thriller now, and we're going to get lots. I want a surprise, a big surprise, like a Stroll P4 or something. Just it's been a while since something like that. It feels like outside of rainy sessions, but yeah. Give us something exciting tomorrow. But sad to see Nico and Liam out already, says Mac. I'll call you Mac because I don't want to butcher that because I will. But yeah, thank you very much. Yeah, shame for both of them. Really surprised by Nico Hulkenberg, like I said earlier. Q3 or SQ3 yesterday and out in Q1 today. So it's a shame for him. George Russell. Good result in the sprint as well for the Hulk, so that's also double shame, isn't it? Really, that he didn't get through. But Magnussen is, so they've got a Haas up there, so hopefully he can get through. But Russell will be the first to do a lap. Seems to be enjoying being first out at the moment. So which one is Checo? Because someone explained a little bit. So sorry, Munchie. So Checo is Sergio Perez. Checo is his nickname. Is the Checo a nickname? I can't remember if that's a nickname for Sergio or Perez, but it's Sergio Perez. Apologies, sorry, I forget sometimes that not everybody follows along with the parts of F1, bits like that. I'm sure someone will explain the story properly in the chat. I can't think of it off the top of my head. It's been a long time since I read up on it, actually. But yeah, Sergio Perez, he is in 8th place, or was in 8th place. We'll see how he gets on out there now. So, Jonty's fainted. Shock news, Checo makes it into Q2. Thank you, Jonty. I hope you're all right, mate. Good to see you. Sorry I've not been in touch lately. It's been mad preparing for the winter and everything coming up this weekend and next weekend, and I'm on holiday on the 16th. So, yeah, it's... I've barely had chance to breathe, and when I have, I've been farming. So no excuse. I should be messaging Jonty every night before bed. It's a disgrace. Here we go then. Russell, fastest at the moment is a 21.1. Then it's 21.5 for Carlos Sainz. Purple in the first sector for Max Verstappen. Second for Piastri then, 121.3. A long way to go in this session, so we'll not read too much there. Apparently Checo is just a common nickname in Spanish, so there we go. There's a bit of an explanation for you there, Munchie. Hopefully that helps. Yeah. I don't know what it means. If anyone knows what it means, please do let me know. I'll be intrigued. Hamilton goes into 5th on a 21.5. Yeah, off to Skeggy. I'd rather not. A lot of people talk about their love for Skegness, but when you spent a lot of your youth there, it's not as thrilling. That and Mablethorpe. No offense to anyone from Mablethorpe. It's lovely. It's lovely. They've got a very nice co-op. Over the line then. For Zhou Guanyu, 130.249. Verstappen goes fastest, 700s quicker than Russell, a 121.0. So some pace there for Max Verstappen. Lando Norris purple and then green. But he's 2/10 down on Verstappen. So good luck that from Max. But long way to go in this session yet. We'll see what happens. Intriguing. Perez has gone 4th. So Sergio Perez is 4th place in the Red Bull. So we've got again, a way to go yet, but that's a good start for Checo. As Norris only 4th. I should just clarify who's on what tyre. Ooh. Verstappen's on the used. Russell is used as well. Norris on used tyres. Leclerc, Sainz, Hamilton on used. Everybody else on fresh soft. So that'll be explaining some of those up there. But Piastri only third on the fresh set, which is a surprise. Joe Kool-Aid says, according to an article, and this is a quote, it's not really that complicated or interesting, Perez said in 2013. In Mexico, all Sergios are automatically given the name Checo, so there's no story behind it. Okay. As an example, it's similar to James being shortened to Jim in English-speaking countries. There we go. Thank you very much, Joe Kool-Aid. Appreciate that. That's interesting. Is Checo, Sergio, it's a syllable less, isn't it? Yes, it is shorter. Sorry, I was just thinking then, is it? And Maury says, no, sorry, I read something there. Yeah, Max said, a holiday to Skegness, I'd rather crawl on broken glass. You would be if you went on holiday to Skegness. They've got some good stuff there in Skeggy. It's all right. I'm slagging it off, but it's not that bad. I've been to worse. Should we talk F1? Should we watch quali? Let's do quali. Why not? Yuki Tsunoda up into 12th place with his lap. 1:21.9. We're currently losing Stroll, Alonso, Gasly, Tsunoda and Zhou in reverse order. But we'll see. That's plenty of time for that to change. But they are on new tyres. So, yeah, back out there from Alonso. Michael says, I guess it's like William being called Bill. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, no, that's the same. It's a comparison, isn't it? Like, you know, shortening Sean to oh, that's it now, that's my name. Or that's just people telling me to shut up. Stroll 22-1, 13th place. Gasly obviously personal best for his lap, so we'll see what he can do with this one. Comes through the final corner. Perez's lap time has been deleted for track limits at turn 4. Alonso lost his for track limits at turn 10. So Perez, is that his 21-4 for Perez? It doesn't say on the feed from the FIA. I'll just wait for the race control feed to update there. But is that his 21-4 he's going to lose for track limits at turn 4? Here he goes. Is this what we're watching here? His lap time's still on the board, 5th place. So, I mean, he's slow. It's a slowdown lap. So, he wasn't pushing and he's still wet in the gravel. So, there you go. Yeah, could have been faffing. They're just speculating on commentary, faffing about with the steering wheel or something. But Alonso wide at very wide, big snap actually, or not a big snap, big enough to put him off the track. But there you go. So we are currently with 7 minutes and 37 seconds to go. Verstappen is fastest, gone quiet on track actually. Russell is second, Piastri third, Norris fourth, Perez in fifth. Of the top 5, Norris and Verstappen all on used tyres there. Although that might. Russell may have been as well because he's just gone back out on new tyres, so that could be why that's reading as that. So we'll forget that for now. Gasly 6th, Leclerc 7th, Sainz 8th, Hamilton in 9th, 10th for Magnussen. Then at the moment in the drop zone, Bottas 11th, Zhou 12th, Tsunoda 13th, Stroll 14th, and Alonso 15th. Let's hope that we can get a Sauber into Q3 and watch Pascal explode. That's not literally explode, that'd be harsh, but. Yeah, we're under 7 minutes. It's purple middle sector for Piastri at 1:21.085 to beat through the final corner. Very, very nicely to the line for Oscar Piastri to go only second. 21.1, so green in the first sector, personal best, and then 2 purple, so fastest overall in the second and third sector. Incident involving car 55, that's Carlos Sainz noted for an unsafe release, so it's right into the path of Lewis Hamilton. That'll be a fine, maybe a reprimand. We'll see what they decide. Probably a fine for the team there. Slam dunk fine. There won't be any sporting penalty for that, but yeah, that was definitely an unsafe release there from Ferrari. So bit of a ticking off at a fine, I'd imagine, but they'll have the money to pay it. They should be fine. Don't worry, the kids will still get the Christmas presents. It'll all be okay. On track, we've got Verstappen, Hamilton, Norris, Russell, Piastri and Sainz. Leclerc's out there as well. Everybody else in the pit lane. So this is going to be a mad final 5 or 6 minutes in the session. So Sundak says, why can't you show the coverage of it? It's because it costs a fortune to buy the rights, and if I show you any footage from the track, then they'll copyright strike the channel, and if I get too many of them, then we'll have it taken down. It's not worth losing the channel over, I'm afraid. So I've said it a million times on this channel, I would absolutely love to. I would love to be able to show you it live and do an alternative commentary, but there is absolutely no way they're going to let me. So we make do with the timing from Multiviewer for F1, and they do a great job. So thank you to those guys once again. So sorry that I can't, but it's kind of out of my control unless somebody's got billions of pounds to send the channel so that we can pay for the rights from Sky. If they ever want to let him go, which I imagine they wouldn't want to. But yes, so 5 minutes to go in the session. Oh, yeah, sorry, yeah, very quickly, yeah, sorry. I apologise, I forgot. There you go. I'll put the track map back in a second. We like to show this. That's just for a yinker, and then we'll comment out on the last. There you go. No track footage. It's against the law, son. There you go. Just for you, mate. Just for you. That's terrible. The things I do when I've got 5 minutes spare. 21.5 is the projected knockout time. So everybody from Magnussen down definitely needs to go again. I mean, 5 of them do because they are in the bottom 5. But we've also got... I mean, if 21.5 is a knockout time, then surely you're saying Perez, Gasly, Sainz, Hamilton need to go too because they're only a 10th away from that. So, yeah. Yeah. Imagine working for Ferrari. Your Christmas present would be quite easy. John says, based on the cost of the Sky deal and the value of F1 at the time of the deal, I would estimate the cost for rights to show it live here would be in the region of 3.5 billion. So get your super chats in, everyone. 3.5 billion. I'll let somebody else work out how much that works out between 820 people, but quite a bit, I'd imagine. So there you go. We are 3 minutes and 45 seconds to go. I'm going to focus on the track now, and I'll come back to you guys in chat shortly for some more of your wonderful sarcasm. You're in the right place. Norris goes fastest, 21.049. So he goes to the top of the timesheet, 600ths quicker than Max Verstappen. George Russell is out there. Is he on a hot lap? No, he's not out there at all. I'm looking at Lewis Hamilton, sorry. He's not pushing, is he? No. I'm interested here as well. We've got Russell, Piastri and Perez in the pits. So is Perez safe? Are they going to take a risk? Surely not. Surely not. We're coming to 3 minutes to go. They're going to make a decision soon. But here goes K-Mag then on a nice fresh set of soft tyres. He's currently 10th. He is the one at risk on a 21.774. I was reading the wrong one. 21.774. So, yes. I'm going to wait now and see how he does. We're not on board or anything, so I can't even try and pretend to know what corner lane we're at. Speed trap 200 miles an hour there, if it was saying, for... I didn't catch who they were for. Alonso just got through the speed trap at 36 kilometers an hour. So not pushing as he tries to make a gap on the exit of the pits, which is quite funny. Surely, has Perez gone out yet? He's got to, surely. Are they really going to gamble that? I mean, it's a 21.4. No, he is. He's at the end of the pit lane. There we go. He's okay. Can you explain why drivers which are safe into Q3 like Russell go out again? Is it training for Q3, says Mac? It's just to make sure that we don't get a sudden sort of spike in track evolution and somebody doesn't, for example, if Alonso goes out now and then goes ahead of Russell, that puts him under threat. It's better, we've learned over the years, and they have as well, it's just better to be out on track and putting a lap in and be there in case something goes wrong. You'll often see at the end of Q3 when you've got fast cars at the end, they'll be putting in purple sectors and then they might just back right off at the end when they realise that actually then they're safe. It's just to make sure they get through. So many times over the years, some big names have been caught out because they thought they were safe and then the track suddenly evolves or the temperature comes down, whatever, and it causes chaos. So that's why it's maybe a bit of scrubbing in the tyres as well, so getting a heat cycle through them. Maybe I know Aston Martin like to do that, but yeah, a bit of prep for the weekend, but also just to make sure that they're out there in case they need to put a lap in, really. So, but yes. So Magnussen's going for it here. So he did back out of his last one. I thought he did. He didn't look like he was pushing all that hard. So the big ones we're watching here, Bottas and Zhou, I would love to see them through. Absolutely love to see them through. Or one of them. Or, I mean, both would be incredible. But yeah, that's... we're about to find out. Magnussen not improving. Three tenths down on Norris overall, which isn't a surprise. Really, we would want to see what he's doing versus his own time, but he's not improving. So Zhou has improved. In fact, Zhou stood at 29.8, which is a tenth slower than Norris, and only marginally slower than Max Verstappen in second place. So Zhou Guanyu is flying out there. Let's hope that stays on for the rest of the lap. Magnussen's gone purple in the middle sector, so this is what I mean about the track might just suddenly spike or what. And again, Zhou's half a second up on a time to get through. I think, and I'm getting excited now on behalf of Pascal, I think Zhou is on a stonking lap here. I hope he can finish it. So here comes Magnussen, purple in the middle sector. Over the line he goes and goes into 6th place, which was Hamilton on the bubble. Here comes Zhou Guanyu to go. Oh, it's only 11th. Show. Oh, you built that up and you built that up. Oh, what a shame. Here goes Stroll over the line. He's only 14th. Can Bottas sneak through into Q3? The checkered flag is out. Sorry, I'm delayed. As soon as I get excited about Zhou there. Here goes Bottas. Can he get through? No, he goes 12th. So Zhou does out-qualify Valtteri Bottas. Max Verstappen, purple in the first sector. Leclerc goes up into second place. I think Hamilton is just going to hang on here unless somebody springs a surprise. Sainz improves to 6th. Hamilton is improving, though, so he might be okay. Here goes Alonso. He goes up to 7th place. What a lap from... I applauded it. It was a great lap from Fernando Alonso. Hamilton goes 5th. Sergio Perez here is on the bubble, but I think he's going to be okay. Unless Tsunoda does something remarkable in the final sector, as Verstappen goes fastest on a 1:20.687 right at the end of the session. Purple, purple, and purple. What happened to Zhou? It was a bad sector 3. He was quick. He was half a second up in the middle sector on Tsunoda, which was the time to get through at the time, and ends up in 12th place, which again, to bring it back to reality, not a bad result for Sauber, 12th and 13th at all. That's decent for them. It keeps them in play for a potential point tomorrow if that falls their way. But Gasly, a bit of a surprise there out in Q2. So we've lost Gasly, we've lost Zhou, we've lost Bottas, Tsunoda and Stroll. Ladies and gentlemen, Sergio Perez is in Q3. That is how you respond just to a terrible session yesterday and a pretty poor sprint. But I will point out 12 thousandths of a second between Perez and Gasly. So yes, that's how you respond, but the gap needs to be bigger than that. So positives and, credit where it's due. He is into Q3, but we'll see what he can do from there. But I think Alonso there, I applauded that. You would have heard it. I was amazed by that lap to 8th place. So well done for Fernando Alonso. So Verstappen fastest, Norris 2nd, Leclerc 3rd, Russell 4th, Hamilton in 5th, 0.4 of a second back to Piastri in total in 6th. So that's covering the top 6. 7th was Sainz, 8th was Alonso, only in inverted commas, half a second off the fastest time. Magnussen in 9th place. Perez was 10th, and then we lost Gasly, Zhou, Bottas, Tsunoda, and Stroll. PUBG just for fun says Alonso literally was like, let me just improve to Q3 real quick. Basically, it's what he does. Well done to Fernando. That's going to be one of the surprises of the session. There you go. Great stuff. I'll do the usual YouTube stuff. Please do drop a like. We're 12 away from 100. That'd be amazing if we get well over 100 in this stream. I'd ask for 200, but that might have been greedy. So if we can get 12 to get it over 100, that'd be fantastic. And do subscribe as well if you are new to the channel. I will do shout outs in between the sessions. And again, I'll do a few after Q3 as well. But please do subscribe if you're new. We are live for the race watch along tomorrow from 3:30 p.m. GMT. The race starting at 4 p.m. UK time. And then I'll be live about an hour and a half, 2 hours tops afterwards for the race reaction with Stuart, and we'll digest the entire weekend. So there we go. So thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining me this weekend. Those who have subscribed, so please do sub and drop a like. And thank you already. Look at that, straight to 101 likes. Thank you so much, everyone. Appreciate that massively, as always. M. Horizon says, not really how you respond in a Red Bull. You are too nice, Sean. No, I mean from a personal point of view. Not. That's why I said after I said it, that's still not good enough. The gap needs to be bigger than that back to Gasly. But given where he was earlier this afternoon in the sprint and where he was yesterday in sprint quali, that's a big improvement for him. So that's what he needs to do. But no, I know. I've had a lot of people. Raul tells me off all the time for being too defensive of Checo, and that I need to be not be quite so. Yeah, but me and Stuart talk about the past all the time. Yeah, but he used to be great. Yeah, in a Sauber or a Force India, he's been terrible this season. So apart from the first 5 races of the year, but it's a 24 race season. So yeah, I know. I get quite. I give him too much credit, maybe, and I'm not as fair with it. But I don't know. Yeah. I did make a point of saying that's not good enough back to Gasly, but it's an improvement for him. So, but yeah, I take your point, Harati. Forgive me. Tommy says Perez Q3 woo how. Yeah, sorry, I didn't give that the credit it deserves, did I at all? Should that be review the entire talk time? Says Flaming Tornado. I am very happy. Brilliant team effort by Sauber. We can race from there and can use both cars tactically to try to get a point or two, says Pascal. Again, a point would be great. They've got themselves in the right place. Zhou got me excited there. I legit thought he was going to sneak through, and yeah, he didn't. Bad final sector, so gutted. I thought he was going to do it and give us some cheer, but no. But it's close to the front. It's Verstappen's lap there at the end was a bit of a not an outlier because he's put the lap in, hasn't he? But that's made the gaps look bigger, I think. But I think it's going to be a close fight for pole. If Verstappen's in it for pole, whatever Red Bull did between the sessions with Perez up in Q3 as well, they really, really, really need to make sure they write that down. Casper says, who do you think will win pole? There we go then. We're about to get going for Q3. So in chat, I'm going to take a quick drink. So a quick 5-second break. My union authorized break. So one surname, who have you got for pole position? Will it be Verstappen, Norris, Leclerc, Russell? Let me know and I'll read some out. I said Piastri on Thursday. I'm back. There you go. That was my break. I said Piastri on Thursday. Less confident on that now. So officially Piastri. I'm tempted to say Verstappen, but then I'll jinx him. So, do you know what? Let's go Russell. I'm gonna go Russell because he's been delivering what he needs to when he needs to this weekend. So we'll go with George for pole. Let's see what you're saying then. Who did you go with, Casper? I'll give you the shout first. Says, we need Ferrari winning the Constructors' Championship. We absolutely do. Yes, that's what I like to see, Casper. Free says Russell. Fud says Norris. Ayinka says Max on pole. Is it Georgos? Oh, yes. You know who you are. Piastri. Michael High says Verstappen. Flaming Tornado says Perez, lol. If that happens, wow. Nick the Greek says Norris. Alfie says cold tea break. No, I've not got a tea. I was going to get on before the stream and I forgot, so I'm still on the juice. And by juice, I mean squash. I know. Lewis says Norris. John says Russell. M. Harati says Russell. Strider says Russell. Jesse says Perez. Morris says Magnussen. Science Guy says do. There you go. The more you know, and all of that. Yes, that's. We're getting ready for this session now. This is it. This is the one that decides Polus Positionus. There you go. It's still cold, to be fair, Alfie. It's not too bad. We are green for Q3. This is it then. Who is going to be on pole position? Upsilon says K-Mag. And Howie says I'm going Woody for pole. See, that sort of goes around on social media. No, leave it. No. We need Bottas on pole for last race in Abu Dhabi, says Casper. That'd be cool. Would like to see Bottas. I just want a point for Sauber in these final 2 races. I keep saying it doesn't matter. They're not going to score enough to overturn Williams, but it'd be nice to see every team pick up a point this year. So, in what's been quite a crazy season. Bizarre is the word I keep using. Reverse 2013, a bit 2009, bit 2003, I think is one I've thrown in there before. You could throw in a bit of 2012 with the multiple winners. So mad season, but it's been great. It's been great, and I'm kind of gutted it's coming to an end. Abu Dhabi's a race. Just so we let them gear up. Abu Dhabi's a race I never get excited for because, one, I never used to like the track. I think the changes Particularly the turn 5 change has been a good change. I don't really understand the one a bit further round. That was a good overtaking spot, but there you go. But because it's the final race of the season, it just always feels a bit meh. So next weekend, we are going to do non-uniform day, so you can come in your own clothes next weekend for the stream. And you can bring a video as well. I'll bring DuckTales. That's what we used to do at school. I remember going way back now to school. Final day of term, somebody taking in the South Park movie on video and the teacher putting it on thinking it was just a cartoon. Lol. We were so hard. 10 minutes to go then in this session. Here we go. George Russell is going to get a lap in here. First of all, I believe he will be. And hopefully... Jonty got sent home because he took Robocop. You bloody would. I'm just not even surprised. I wasn't even remotely surprised when I read that, even though you've never told me it before. But there you go. Yeah, non-uniform day next week, so there you go. That's good stuff. You don't even have to pay 50p. That's fine. 50p to wear your own clothes. We're waiting for George. George is going to be the first one to do a lap here. Oh, no, Magnussen is, sorry. And, yeah. I'm lying to you about George. It might be George. I've lost where he is on the tracker. It will be Magnussen, sorry, and possibly even Norris then, but he looks like he's on an outlap. So let's get back on track, Sean, quite literally. Magnussen, first to do a lap. Used tyres, by the way, for Fernando Alonso, K-Mag, and Sergio Perez. Round goes Magnussen into the final corner. This won't be too representative because it is, of course, on the used tyres. Not a bad lap, though, 21.5 on the used set. So, decent for K-Mag, but he can go quicker. On the subject of going quicker, Leclerc, purple and purple, 29.782, 27.483 in the middle sector there for him. So, he's going to come out that final corner and stick it over the line and put it fastest with a 1:21.0. That's Carlos Sainz, not Charles Leclerc. Charles Leclerc is still flying through there. He is going to go quicker than his teammate on a 20.8. Couple of tenths as well there. Oscar Piastri trying to get a toe from the Ferrari, and the Ferrari backing off. Does Checo have any new tyres left? Says Nick the Greek. Good point. No, he'll be a set short, won't he? Because he used extra fresh softs earlier. So that's why he's out on the used ones. Yeah. You can tell looking back that teachers didn't give a damn on the last day. Yeah, I think back now, I couldn't be a teacher. I ain't got the patience. But, yeah, you could tell they didn't care. Just do what you want. Within reason was kind of it, wasn't it? Alonso, 21.3 into third place. We'll watch Albon Norris. It looks like he'll lose it in the corners, but he's not. It's just the speed they're carrying. Such a weird track. But, you know, maybe not great for racing as such, but it's been great to watch the cars around there. But Russell's flying, by the way. 2.5 tenths up as Norris abandons that lap. Alonso lap time deleted, track limits at turn 10. So that's a shame for him. So he drops back down to 9th place. But Russell is absolutely on it here. 29.7 and a 27.2 for his first two sectors. He is going to go fastest, surely, from there. He does indeed, with a 1:20.5, 3 tenths quicker than Charles Leclerc, and half a second, basically, quicker than Carlos Sainz. Piastri over the line. Fourth place, 1:21.139. That's on... no, it is a fresh set of tyres, according to the thing. Yeah. Strange. Norris then. Sorry, we got Piastri must be. Is that actually a fresh set? Norris kicking up dust there and kicking up gravel there. Lost about half a second through turn 5 with a snap of oversteer. So that's why he backed out of that one. That explains that. I'm just wondering why Piastri's only 5th on what apparently is a new set of tyres. So maybe we'll get a replay shortly on what he's done. But yeah, kicking up that dust. I love it. I love watching the cars clip the dust and then seeing the driver correct it and keep it on track. That's always great to see. Verstappen then, on a fresh set of soft tyres. Here he goes. Who's going to get pole? We're coming up to 6 minutes to go. Russell has currently got it. Will he hang on? We'll find out. We're nearly there. It's exciting times. That'll also be 3 streams down for the weekend, so only 2 to go. Not that I'm counting them down, just thought I'd mention it. Yeah. Just Let's share it. Verstappen does go purple 600ths quicker than George Russell. So Norris is going back out now to get his lap in. But it's quite quiet. The two Mercs, two McLarens. In fact, Russell's pitting. And Verstappen and Hamilton. What's Hamilton going to do? Is he pitting as well? Doesn't matter, does it really? Verstappen kind of going in somewhat of a gap here. I'm sure he'll go again, though. 57 flat in the middle sector. Overall, 27.2 is what he needs to beat Russell, and doesn't. It's a 27.3. Fernando Alonso turn 10 track limits just over the white line. Yeah, nothing spectacular there or exciting. So, but that's been deleted. So 27.3. Alonso wants it checking. He's calling for a VAR check. He's not happy with that. And there goes Verstappen. 400ths down. Let's say half a tenth. Why not? That's pretty close there, actually, between Russell and Verstappen. So Verstappen might be in the mix here. He could be the surprise. I mean, it says Max now needs to do a hot lap. I'm keeping an eye on Norris. He is under a bit of pressure for a good lap. Morris says teachers do get paid. They do get, yeah, teachers do get paid for holidays. CFB said they doesn't think that they do, but my sister's a teacher. Well, she was. She's gone off to study art before she goes into art teaching. But yeah, no, she's a teacher. She gets paid for the holidays, so definitely does. I'm sure it's all worked out in the salary. So I just thought I'd let you know. There you go. Unless she's lying to me, which she could be. Who knows? Norris is going for his lap now. So he is on... So this is going to be... It is a fresh set again according to the timing screens, but it could be the same fresh set he was using before. I doubt it, though. Should be good for tyres, though, for the rest of this session. 29.7 for Russell in the first sector. Norris, a 10th down. 29.8, obviously. Interesting. Be surprised if McLaren weren't... Surely they're going to be top... Get both of them in the top three again. That would be a shock. Norris has backed off again. So Norris not happy with that lap either. So Norris went for it and then backed off. Was a 10th down. Pato O'Ward there. One of the many drivers linked to the Cadillac seat for 2026, if they are going to go with the name Cadillac. Nothing wrong with Pato O'Ward. He's a good egg. Or seems to be a good egg. I'm trying to work out who's doing what here now. So, because you've got cars coming in the pit. So Norris, sorry, I got thrown there by something random on my stream. I don't know what's going on, but I've resolved it. It's fine. No panic. We don't need things going wrong now. We've still got 2 streams to do this weekend, and the rest of this 3 minutes to go. Lando Norris is going to gear up for another lap. He's going to have to go for it, although he's slow across the line again, so he's not gearing up for another lap. Obviously needs to recharge. This is really strange. I'm trying to work out what's going on here. So Verstappen and Norris and Piastri all dawdling on the straight. Piastri will go past them both. All on slow laps. So it's just a bit weird out there watching all of that. If you're watching, you'll totally know what I mean. Threw me off. On the subject of watching, 1,100 of you here. Thank you so much for popping along. I will do the usual spiel. Please do subscribe if you are new and join... some of those who have subscribed today and across the weekend. I will do shout outs after this if you do subscribe. And please do drop a like as well. Massively appreciated. Lots to come this weekend. Race Watchalong tomorrow, and of course the race reaction as well shortly after the Grand Prix. So plenty to come as we approach the 2-minute mark. We should now be able to see some time. Sorry, I was trying to commentate on it, and then Norris backed off, and then Piastri wasn't doing anything. Then Verstappen confused me, and we are now going to get some time, so we should be able to keep up with this one now. Just a bit of recharging, maybe there for Norris. So we'll see. But 1:50 to go. Laps should tumble. At the moment, Russell 120.5 is fastest. Verstappen 120.6, sorry, is second. Leclerc 0.3 back on Russell in third. Hamilton fourth. Sainz fifth. Piastri sixth. Magnussen seventh. Perez 8th. Norris 9th, and Alonso in 10th place. His lap was deleted for track limits at turn 10, which is why he's still down there. So we're going to find out now who is getting pole position. I said Russell at the start of this session. A lot of you agreed, some of you disagreed. Verstappen is definitely in the mix. Can the Ferraris get themselves in the mix? Staring intently at Carlos Sainz there, asking him to get himself in the mix. Same with Charles Leclerc, but Sainz has started us out, so he's into turn 1 for Sainz. All looks nice and tidy through there. Into 2, and then sweeps 3 is a corner. It doesn't look like a corner. It is a corner. It's a bit of a kink, let's put it that way, as he goes into 4. So 29.7 is the time to beat. The hairpin at 6 is next up. That's where the cut is just after 5. He's down, a tenth down, nearly 2 tenths down on Russell in the first sector. Everybody on new tyres. So this is going to be the fastest they can go. Low fuel, new tyres. Yeah. The final 30 seconds here, this is going to get hectic, so bear with me. I'll do my best. Yeah, Fud says a yellow here could be chaos. Absolutely. Oscar Piastri matching George Russell through the first set to 29.7, place 29.7. So he's in the mix here, Piastri. Sainz better in the middle sector, but still 3 tenths down on Russell. So it was an improvement on his own time, but not enough to challenge for pole here, Carlos Sainz. He will see the lap through. He may as well now with just a few seconds to go. But yes, that's a shame for Carlos. He's not in this one. Neither's Leclerc, 2 tenths down. Fastest purples sector 1 for George Russell. That's what's trying to say. Checkered flag is out. This is it then. These laps have got to count. Sainz, he crosses the line, improves to but stays 5th place. Over the line next will be Charles Leclerc. Over the line could be the phrase of the weekend now. Here he goes, stays 3rd on a 120.852. Next up is Oscar Piastri. He was pretty good in the first sector. Verstappen's flying. Piastri goes 3rd on a 120.829. Norris is next. He is improving, but Norris goes 3rd. Where's McLaren's pace gone? Verstappen was purple in the first sector, but he's not got a personal best in the middle sector. So can he pull it together in the final sector? Perez is improving all over the place as well. Nothing purple at the moment. Alonso in 8th place for Aston Martin. That lap will count. Here goes Verstappen to take provisional pole position on a 120.520. Sergio Perez goes to 9th place. Lewis Hamilton is next across the line. George Russell, what can he do? Hamilton stays down in 6th place. 5 tenths off. It's over. Max Verstappen's got pole. Forget George Russell. It's over. Max Verstappen is on pole position for the Qatar Grand Prix. Where the fuck did that come from? Max Verstappen on pole in Qatar. I said it earlier, whatever Red Bull did to those cars in the gap between sessions, write it down. It's kind of irrelevant for next weekend, but there you go. I did not see that coming from. Michael says nail. I think Michael did nail it. Said that he thought that he pulsed it out the back there. So Max on pole. George Russell, 0.5 tenth off the fastest time in 2nd place. Here is why. Oh, that's a Red Bull in the middle of the road. That's traffic. Who is that? Is it Perez? No, that was Verstappen apparently. Verstappen may not be on pole. If Russell's on a timed lap there and Verstappen is dawdling, that will be 100% a 3-place grid drop. So let's not... I'm not sure. If you know in chat for sure, it's provisional pole for Max Verstappen, and I imagine it will stay provisional. Because that was... it all depends on whether or not Russell's on an outlap or not. If that was a flying lap, which again, Lewis says it can't be. I was just thinking there, they were both going at the same time, weren't they? So they must have both been on flying laps there. So, but Russell was considerably quicker than Verstappen there. So if that's a flying lap for George Russell, that will 100% be a penalty for Verstappen, which tends to be 3 places, doesn't it, for blocking? So it'll be a 3-place grid drop. If that does happen, that'll be 4th, which will put Russell on pole position, Norris 2nd, and Piastri 3rd with Verstappen 4th. But what I think the promising thing for Red Bull, whatever happens, and there you go. Oh no, that's maximum delta time that they're talking about for Verstappen there. He is... noted for failing to follow race director's instructions. That we see hundreds of those and 1 or 2 get dealt with, so probably nothing there, but we'll see. But now we'll have to wait and see what the stewards decide there, because it all comes down well, they are going to investigate it. So actually, he might be in trouble twice here. FIA stewards, Q3 incident involving car 1, that's Verstappen, will be investigated after session for failing to follow race director's instructions, maximum delta time. I feel like we've seen loads of those, though, to be fair. So there might be nothing there, but there could be some reason for it. But yeah, no, that is that could well be a penalty for Verstappen. So we'll go over that in just a second. In fact, there you go. There are loads of others as well here, maximum Delta time. So we'll see. Obviously, tune in tomorrow for the race watch along for the answer. I'll do some shout outs just before we do a run through the order. I have to have a drink in a minute as well. Thank you, or two shootouts. Thank you to Odysseus and to Sue Moss for subscribing. Odysseus Flappington, I should say, for the full name. Thank you for subscribing. Appreciate that. Don't forget to subscribe if you're new and drop a like as well. Live tomorrow again, 3:30 p.m. UK time. That's GMT for the race watch on, then live again shortly after for the race reactions. So yes, please do like and subscribe. I'm trying to hit a target, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. Because I like to keep secrets, and I'll tell you if we hit it at the end of the season. Definitely. I think we're quite a way off at the moment. Subs and views. We're doing all right. That's the noise I'm making for you. We could do it. So Max Verstappen is on provisional pole position for the 2024 Qatar Grand Prix with a 1:20.520. However, as we sit here and stream this, there is a question mark over whether he may face a penalty. He's got the maximum delta time to be investigated, but also there was a blocking or impeding incident with George Russell, but we're not sure whether or not that was on a quick lap for Russell or not, because if it was, then it will be a 3-place grid drop for Verstappen for sure. So as it stands, he's on pole, but that is only provisional. George Russell, second place, only half a tenth off in the end in the Mercedes, so very close to him. Some great pace from George Russell this weekend. Lando Norris only third and Piastri fourth. That's a bit of a surprise, but still exactly where they need to be with the Ferraris behind. Leclerc in fifth and Hamilton in sixth, Sainz in seventh. Half a second separating the top 7 cars. 8th place for Fernando Alonso. Really great showing from him today. Sergio Perez did get through into Q3, but ended up 9th in the end, 9/10 off his teammate. Magnussen only a few hundreds further back in 10th place on a 1:21.500, so just flat really. 1:21.5 would have done, but they are your top 10. Then we've got Gasly. He was knocked out in Q2 with Zhou in 12th and Bottas 13th. Great showing from both the Saubers and a big boost there for Zhou to out-qualify his teammate. Yuki Tsunoda 14th place with Lance Stroll in 15th. 16th for Alex Albon. 17th for Liam Lawson. It's 18th for Nico Hulkenberg. Again, the big surprise of Q1 there for me, given his pace earlier in the weekend or throughout the weekend. He isn't very well though, so I'll cut him some slack there. 19th place for Franco Colapinto and 20th for Esteban Ocon. So in terms of the battle for the Constructors' Championship, McLaren ahead of both the Ferraris. Both McLaren ahead of both the Ferraris, so that's critical for them. And in terms of the battle for 6th in the Constructors, Magnussen in the top 10. The Alpines outside of that, and so are the RBs. So a big weekend. So we will see. I'm just listening to George. George isn't talking there about blocking on the final lap, so maybe it wasn't a flight. It's all going to come down. That's what it'll come down to. That is what it will come down to. If if George Russell was on a flying lap, Max Verstappen will get a penalty. If they were both on out laps or in laps or cool down laps, whatever you want to call them, it probably won't be. So that's what it's going to boil down to here. I'm just going to check the old Twitter sphere and see what happens and whether or not that's going to be slammed. That's what it's going to come down to. So, we can scream penalty all we like. Like I say, if Russell is on a slow lap, on an out lap or an in lap, it won't be a penalty. It never is in those situations, unless they deem that dangerous, and then they might look at it. But it would be. I mean, the issue there may be the maximum delta time, to be fair. So we shall see. But I know there'll be plenty of people itching for Verstappen to get a penalty. And if he gets on for that and George's on the flying lap, absolute slam dunk all day long. So there'll be no arguing from me. And I would wager there'd be not a lot of arguing from Verstappen either, to be honest. So you can't really argue that, can you? But that's what it'll boil down to. I'm just trying to see if there's anything on Twitter. Red Bull don't pay the FIA anything. Don't be. We had this with Ferrari, with the Ferrari international assistants. We had it with the Mafia, with Mercedes. If McLaren dominate next year, it'll be exactly the same. It's. I don't mean any shade towards you at all. Is it Samaya? This isn't what I mean. Just in general. 38 years old. I've been watching it for over 30 years. I've seen all this before. It's just not a thing. There's no big conspiracy. I wish there was. Could you imagine Could you imagine? I'd love a proper conspiracy that will actually turn out to be true. But we'll see. We'll see. Again, I'll say it again for anyone who's just tuning in. It will all boil down to, quite simply, what lap George Russell was on. If it's a cool-down lap, it probably won't be a penalty unless they consider that to be dangerous, or if he does end up falling under the maximum delta time, in which case he may have to. But if George Russell's on a flying lap, that is 100% a penalty. It's as simple as that. So there you go. But fourth place minimum for Max, unless he gets 2 penalties for the delta time thing. But yeah. There's so much I'd love to sit and just say to people saying that the FIA are being paid by Red Bull, because I will just laugh in your face, so I won't bother. But absolutely ridiculous. It's not even a thing. It never has been with Red Bull or Ferrari or Mercedes or Lotus, whoever you want. Pick a team. It just doesn't happen. But yeah, thank you to Florin Daniel. Vrabish, I'll call you Florin Daniel. You know who you are. Andrew Bolton, to Fly Fisher, and to Arnav Jarell as well. Thank you very much for subscribing, guys. Appreciate you joining the. I can get a weird little community, but I don't mean that offensively. We are quite odd here. But we love it. Yeah, so thank you to everybody for tuning in. And do drop a like as well. 133 likes. Still got 400 of you here. A few more likes would be great. I left the poll up by mistake. I did that earlier as well. So you all said 43% McLaren for pole, 22% Ferrari for pole, Red Bull 18%, Mercedes 16%. So only 18% thought that Red Bull would do it. As it stands, they've got it. But I will see what happens with the stewards and what they decide there regarding that one. But you know, championship's done, isn't it? So if he ends up fourth, he ends up fourth. It's not going to destroy his weekend, I'm sure. But yeah, I'm not saying he wasn't a flying lap. I mean, this, you know, Miley MC says George wasn't on a flying lap. Geez, I mean, I don't know, do I? What lap he was on? I wasn't in the car, so there's no need to get weird about it. But you know, it's. I'm not saying I want Verstappen to get a penalty at all. I'm just making the point that we need to know what lap he was on. If he wasn't on a flyer, it probably won't be a penalty. And it may come down to the other issue, which is the only one, I must say, to make the point immediately, that is flagged up on the FIA system. The only one on the FIA system is Max Verstappen will be investigated after the session for failing to follow the race director's instructions regarding the maximum delta time. So there could still be a penalty to come that is completely irrelevant to the Russell situation. So I'm not saying he absolutely was on a flyer or he wasn't on a flyer. I'm just making the point. If he is, it's a penalty, to try and explain it to people that are getting narky because they're desperate for Verstappen to get a penalty because they need to see him fail, because it's how people get their kicks. So and it's the same when anybody's dominant. That's not a slight dig because it's Verstappen. It's true. Same with Hamilton and Schumacher and co. So yeah, there you go. Yellow flags all over the place because I think F1 Academy is about to get going in the next hour, so that'll be why the yellow flags are everywhere. But yeah, I'm not getting snippy as such. I'm just I get annoyed having to constantly repeat myself, and people. I'm aware that the internet like to then try and wind me up, so that's fair enough. Maximus is champions. He has failed to fail, says Nick, or failed to fall. That is fail. I'm sat too far away. He became first pole because many gambling websites paying out his winnings. Fair enough. George said it was 2 corners before starting a lap, but I might have misheard. If that's the case, then Freeze, then any penalty wouldn't be for that. It would be 100% for. It's the maximum delta time I'm more interested in. If look, I kind of made the point. Let's put it this way. If he was under investigation, it would now be on the system. It's not on the system. The system is only on the maximum delta time. So the conversation around Russell is probably actually as good as irrelevant now, because it's the maximum delta time. But I'm not sure what happens with that. We see maximum delta times all the time. I mean, no further investigation on Leclerc, Russell and Sainz for that one. And sometimes something happens, sometimes they don't. The maximum delta time is just to make sure that drivers don't take the piss, frankly, on their in-laps and out-laps. So the stewards like to come back and make sure you stick to that, but they will also take mitigating circumstances into consideration. So, for example, if Max Verstappen has sort of gone wrong on that maximum delta time, but he's done it because he had to back off to let 6 cars through, then they'll give him some leeway on that and probably let him off with that. But if he's deliberately driving slowly and there's nobody around him, then that's it. So yeah. Yeah. There you go. We'll leave it there on the Verstappen stuff. There's not really any point getting. Like I say, it's just the repeating things, and then people just like to come and try and just wind me up. They know what they're doing, but it's fine. It's the interweb. I'm just double checking the system, sorry, to make sure I've not missed something on it, just to make sure. It's all maximum delta time. There's been no blocking investigations at all today, which is weird. I know the Sainz had the unsafe release, didn't he? But yeah, there we go. That was it. Siggy says no one ever gets done for the delta time. I think there's been a couple, but they're generally only slaps on the wrist because there's been a reason behind it. But usually when a driver gets it wrong on the delta time, it's because they've backed off to let a load of cars through, and then it obviously it's a hard and fast thing, isn't it? It's a set figure. So if they're wrong on that, then they're going to get pulled to the stewards for it. But usually there's a reason for it. So Max Verstappen will still say provisional pole because he is officially under investigation. But chat have been had a look, so it's not going to be any kind of penalty, unless, of course, it is for the maximum delta time. So it's pole position for Max. Which, can we just take a second actually and just stop all the trolling and all the trolling and all the silly little conspiracy comments, and just take a second and go again, where the hell did that come from? What a lap that is. Only just quicker than George Russell, but Russell's been quick all weekend. The McLarens have been quick all weekend. Red Bull said, to quote Christian Horner post sprint, we have a mountain to climb. They've climbed that mountain and they're top of it today. There you go. Long way to go this weekend. There's a race to come tomorrow, of course, and it could all change, but over one lap, again, Max Verstappen absolutely nailed it. So, exactly, Freeze. The engineers earn their pay. So, credit where it's due. And I'm aware that as a Max Verstappen fan, it all reeks of bias, but that's not what it is at all. It's just any team that turns it around like that. I was going to say it's not even overnight, in 2 hours. To turn it around like that in 2 hours is remarkable. I mean, there are some things that may, could be taken into account. Obviously, the track's a little bit cooler this evening because it's later in the day and it's cooler anyway. So that could play a part. That could have brought the car into a nice window there with the tyres. But they were struggling for heat up on that first lap in the sprint, if you remember. That on board was awful. But yes, so great stuff from Max Verstappen and Red Bull there. Great work from the engineers. But it set us up nicely for tomorrow. I would argue Hulkenberg's out of position, so he's got to come through. I'd also argue that actually the McLarens are a little bit out of position, even third and fourth, as crazy as it sounds. So they've got to fight through. So that's going to be a fun fight with Verstappen, Russell, Norris and Piastri early doors. What I want to see is what we had in the sprint with sort of the top 5 or 6 cars really close, and then strategy comes into play tomorrow and we get a cracking race. But predictions? Should we do some predictions? Why not? I'll do a handful of comments first. We'll finish at 7:30, so about 20 minutes, just-ish. I'll read some of your comments, then we'll do a very quick predictions thing, and I'll read some of those out, and I'll do shout-outs for subs as well. Thank you to Anita for subscribing. Appreciate the support. Thank you for, again, joining our mad little crazy corner of the internet. Brad says, Max is fine. Chill. Yep. I hope so. I love Vettel when he was dominant. I just don't like how Red Bull operate these days, says Howie182. Do you know what's funny, actually? You're not the first person to say that to me, actually. Yeah, I think that's probably quite a popular opinion, actually. Anita says, I do love your commentary. Hear you tomorrow in Gran Canaria. Thank you, Anita. Appreciate the support. And yeah, hear you tomorrow. Or no, I'll speak to you tomorrow. I'll speak at you tomorrow. I hope you're well and having and everything's good in Gran Canaria. Looking forward to the race tomorrow. Should be good. I'm not going to read that one. No way. Biker John says 4-time world champion. Absolutely. As Free said, engineer, earn their pay. Fud says F1 fans stopping conspiracy theories. You're more likely to get all 10 teams agreeing on something. True. I don't mind a good conspiracy. It's just the silly ones I can't be bothered with. Conspiracies around, the night we have information now, but at the time, did the 94 Benetton have traction control? That kind of conspiracy. I like that kind of thing, or what really happened here, or what's going to happen there. But it's just the things didn't go my way, so it must all be fixed, or whatever. That I just It's an age thing. I just can't be bothered with it. Nothing makes Max faster than being mad at the car, says Siggy. That's a good point. Actually, yeah, probably gave it a kick in the garage. That's what happened. I predicted procession, to be honest. Lusail is what it is, says John T. What did you make of the sprint, John T? I was obviously live for it, but I really enjoyed having the top 5 or 6 cars that close. But then when you sort of step back and think about it, it was just a DRS train, wasn't it? Yeah, George had a few goes at Oscar, and then we had the weird stuff over the line with Norris getting out of his way. But it was really just DRS trains, and that was kind of how it felt. So one DRS zone here as well, I don't think is going to help, and it's probably been made too short. But yeah, I wasn't blown away by the sprint, but I feel like we've seen. I guess what I'm saying is I feel like we've seen worse sprints than that. So even if it was a DRS train, at least it was close at the front. That's how I feel there. The problem was it was teammates in the locomotive of the DRS train, says Freeze. John says sprint was a very close procession. If we could have loads of that Charles versus Lewis fight, though, oh, God, yeah. Imagine next year. Oh, you want conspiracies? Get ready. The Ferrari conspiracy of Leclerc versus Hamilton could be crazy next season. Max just enjoys the Qatar tracks, says Amir. So does Piastri, of course. I dawned on me after sprint, and that's the second one he's won in 2 years. So, well, I say won. He has won it officially, hasn't he? But that makes up for Brazil. I say it a million times. I really like Aussie P. Max is just a very competitive driver who can even seem like that in the simulator. Yes, he's more than a competitive driver. He's the world champ. He's absolutely phenomenal as a driver. I kind of feel like he's one of those drivers. But then, no, I was going to say, yeah, it's the same with Hamilton. It's the same with Vettel. It'll be the same with the next one. I don't feel like Verstappen gets the credit he deserves, but then he might not get that until well after he's retired. But that's not new to Formula One, I don't think. So, Michael says, as you know, I hate sprint races, but if we have to have them, they found the right format. Yes, I agree. The weekend just flows better, Michael. You kind of get the sprint done, then you can get on with the Grand Prix stuff. So if you're not a fan of sprints, you don't want to watch them, you can just forget the first part of the weekend and come back for quali. So I think the sprint was exciting, says Dirk. Piastri was one mistake away from letting Russell through, who looked like he had the pace to challenge Lando. See, that's the thing, isn't it? That's what I love about Formula One. Well, racing in general. It doesn't need to be a crap ton of overtaking, but just the pressure that's on a driver not to make a mistake in that situation, and one error can completely. Isaac Hadjar in F2 today. You know, what one mistake, it's a big drop, and if you've got the field that close, it's that double jeopardy. So, yes. Jonty says, being here reminds me I forgot to tell you my news. I'm expecting a WhatsApp then, Jonty. I haven't told you my news, Jonty. I'm pregnant. Nope. Just greedy. Red Bull let Max drink every extra bit of Red Bull that made him fly. Yeah, that could be it. The Red Bull, maybe. Get your predictions in then. Who have you got? Give me your top 3 in the chat. And I will read them out. So Christian Horner just confirming there it is on an outlap. We kind of worked that out, didn't we? So... I'm kind of listening there. So it's Russell. It was Russell's second outlap. There we go. So there you go. That's confirmed that on Anthony Davison there, saying it was his second outlap. So he was pushing harder, but he wasn't pushing. So as we've already said, probably nothing there. Then it would be under investigation by now if it was. So it's all about that maximum delta time now. So we'll see what happens. But yeah. John T. I could throw you under a bus. I'm not going to do it. Mohammed says Max Verstappen and Russell DNF tomorrow. They crash in the first corner. Imagine the drama. Dex says George sad face. Is that because you don't want it to win, or that you're sad they didn't get pole, Dex? Sorry, I'm misinterpreting that maybe. Ronnie D says, is a penalty possible, or is this official? The penalty that we're talking about is, if there is going to be one, it'll be for the maximum delta time issue, getting that, exceeding the maximum delta time. So that is officially under investigation, but Anthony Davidson just confirmed there on Sky that George was on his second flying lap. So that block, if you want to call it a block, that we saw, probably nothing on that one. And it's not even investigated anyway. It's not even noted, so unlikely anything comes of that. So just the maximum delta time. But that can be a slap on the wrist. It can be a penalty, but it all comes down to why was he that slow? Was he that slow because he was getting out of somebody else's way? So there'll be mitigating circumstances, so we'll see. I just want McLaren not to finish for the World Constructors' Championship. Yeah, no disrespect to any McLaren driver or fan. I don't want them to wrap it up this weekend. I want this to go down to the wire. Imagine Sean in a title decider that involves Ferrari on a race watch-along. You all want to hear that. You all want to hear the crying afterwards as well when it's all gone wrong. Did Red Bull change to the wing they let Perez use during the sprint, says Siggy? That's a good question. I don't actually know, honestly. I can have a quick check of the old twitter.com, but nothing there from Christian Horner that I heard. But that's a good point. If he's gone out there and done some testing on the wing and it works, then maybe. Nothing on the Red Bull feed. I'll just double check the PF1 chat. They sometimes drop some stuff in there. I can't play the audios, unfortunately, of the driver interviews because that is under FOM, even though they're not FOM recordings, if that makes sense. Nothing on the front wing that I can see. But if anyone knows, feel free to drop it in chat and I'll give you a shout out for that. But it's a good point now, send him out, do a bit of testing in the sprint, and then if it works out, then there you go. It was a good call. Yeah, I can't see anything on there, so there we go. But that's a good point, yeah. I hope it isn't a penalty. No one needs to see the fireworks if they penalise Max, says Fudd. I don't think it will be. I think it'll be a case of I've backed off to let cars through. It's all good. Checo now has motivation now, suddenly starting P9, if not Yuki take over. Where is Yuki? Yuki down in 14th, actually, today, isn't he? So, yes, so there we go. But yeah, what we were doing predictions, weren't we? So Russell, Verstappen and Norris for Michael. Biker John has gone with Max, Rusty and Norris. Q3 today, too hard. Max 3 fast laps in Q2, says Amir. Russell will DNF, says CPB. Can you change the different spec parts during a race, says Dell. Yeah, because part firme. Leave it with me, Dell. I need to check because I know with qualifying, part firme starts when you go out the garage. So does part firme lift when you leave the garage for the sprint? In which case that would be fine, wouldn't it? It's a good question now. I'll leave that with me, Dell, and might come back to that at the start of the Watchalong tomorrow if I find anything interesting. I'll go do some digging. I'm intrigued by that. McLaren will cook up a strategy call. Max, Ozzy and Lando, says M. Harati. Lawson will take out Perez. Turn 1, says Siggy. That'd be an achievement from 17th to 9th. But yeah, no, that'd be an interesting one. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. That's a good grid. Good grid. I'm intrigued by Red Bull's race pace tomorrow. Whether Verstappen has got the speed over the long distance to turn that into a win. Russell was pacey. We saw that this morning or early this afternoon. So he should be in the mix. Norris and Piastri too. It's going to be a good race. Or has the potential to be a good race. But I said it earlier, I do share the skepticism about the race tomorrow, given what we saw in the sprint. But conditions might be slightly different tomorrow, so we'll see. Yeah. So, yes, Pete's just popped in to check the results. We'll read through the results super quickly, then we'll finish for the day. Verstappen on pole position. I have to say provisional because the grid is always provisional until tomorrow anyway, but he is under investigation for the maximum delta time infringement. We'll see what happens there. But provisional pole for Max Verstappen with a stonking lap that came out of nowhere that no one was expecting. A 1:20.520. George Russell second on the grid, half a tenth further back. Then it's Norris, Piastri and Leclerc completing the top 5 with Hamilton in 6th, Sainz in 7th, Fernando Alonso 8th, Sergio Perez 9th and Kevin Magnussen in 10th place. Gasly 11th, Joe 12th, Bottas 13th, Tsunoda 14th, Stroll 15th, Albon 16th, Lawson 17th, 18th for Hulkenberg, 19th for Colapinto and 20th for Esteban Ocon. Hopefully we don't just get a massive DRS train tomorrow. on that note, I will see you tomorrow. John says, I saw a stat the other day. Perez won Singapore 2022. Since then, Verstappen has won more titles than Perez has won races. There you go. There's a stat for you. But yes, that is it for this one. Thank you so much for joining for the stream. Please do drop a like and subscribe. 2 away from 150. Let's get to 150 likes. That'd be amazing. Do subscribe. Thank you, Jason Swift, who's the latest subscriber. Appreciate the support so you don't miss any future content. I am live tomorrow, 3:30 p.m. UK time. That's GMT. For the race watch along, and then I'll be live an hour and a half, 2 hours tops after the race for some reaction with Stuart, aka Chainbear, of course, and he can help me debrief the weekend because I'm going to be mad by that point, insane. It's going to be great fun. Can't wait. Please do follow me on social media as well. All the usual stuff at F1 Word, the F1 Word. We'll be posting a lot more over on socials next season for sure, and to catch up of course on all the latest Formula 1 news and reaction, then head on over to planetf1.com. But as ever, thank you for watching. I've been Sean, this has been the F1 Word, and until next time, goodbye.